Hey, what's up? This is Kevin from Kevin's Barbecue Joints, and this one's awesome. It's with Brad and Jessica Fee from Big Thicket BBQ in DeRidder, Louisiana. They're about 2.5 hours from Houston. This one is so great because it shows the power of tenacity and having a single focus about something and accomplishing your dreams. So this one is really great because you get to know their journey and you get to learn more about them as people and how they got into barbecue and how they got a barbecue food truck and how great that reception was and how Brad had another job and another career, but they were doing this on the side, and how they made the decision to leap into the brick and mortar. And Jessica was a huge portion of that. And it's really exciting to see their thought process. They're very open about how they came upon this. And the location that they're at is an old gas station that's been around for 120, 130 years. And I have a link below to a tour that Brad gave of the whole place. It's a really cool spot. We go over their menu extensively. They're open Wednesday through Saturday. It's just a great story with two great people, and I know you're really going to enjoy this, and it's going to be a place that you're going to want to visit. Again, it's not too far from Houston. When you think of Texas, and you're not living in Texas, but you think of it, you don't realize how close Louisiana and a lot of cities within Louisiana are to Texas. The two of them actually were born in Texas, and they did live in Texas for 10 years. They're definitely embraced by the barbecue community. They love the barbecue community. We talk about how special that is. There's a lot of components we get into. I can't thank them enough for taking the time. I know you're going to want to visit. Again, it's Big Thicket BBQ. I'll have links below to everything. If you're enjoying these, please subscribe. That way you don't miss out. Put up one or two of these per week. I have a website at kevinsbbqjoints.com with a ton of tools and useful information. I hope so. Thank you guys for listening. I recently got a message from someone outside of the United States and Australia who mentioned that he had been listening to this podcast over time at his desk, hating his job, enjoying people's stories and their passion, and that gave him the courage and the inspiration to leap into the barbecue world and get a pit from Primitive Pit. So reach out to me at any time. Let me know what you're thinking of these, or if you have any stories you want to share with me, let me know. But at the end, stay safe and visit your local barbecue joint. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning, Kevin.
Great. How are you doing?
Good. I'm busy as you guys are, and so today's an off day for you guys, right?
Yes,
You guys are
Yeah,
open Wednesday through Saturday, right?
that's correct. Yes.
Excellent. Well, and how, because you guys have gone, like, I want to know, I want to give people an idea as to your path. How did you guys two meet?
Oh gosh, we've been married for almost 27 years. So we've known each other since high school. We dated all through high school. So this is a very much 50-50 venture. We love this life that we're living, and we can't wait to grow and become bigger. But it's all, this is us.
Would
So
you have
what
thought
we-
did you guys think that you guys would be in business together and a barbecue at all back then?
Oh. No, it's always been big into the music stuff, the guitars, the effects pedals, all that. He had his own businesses for years, where I was just kind of like his helper and all that. But when we went into this, I think it was we that made the final decision. Let's do it full time. Let's do it full time.
And did you guys grow up in, and I'm probably going to mispronounce, I always mispronounce word. Is it DeRidder or DeRidder?
DeRidder. We actually grew up about 30 minutes from here in a little bitty backwoods town called Evans.
Okay.
And that's where we're back living. So
So you guys live in Evans, but your restaurant is DeRidder. And what is DeRidder like for people that haven't been there?
It's about 12,000 people. I think it's just a small older town. I mean,
Yeah.
the main industry here is lumber, and we have a local paper mill. So that sort of thing is big here.
got a nice older downtown area that's really popular. We're kind of close to that. We're in a really old building. I'm thinking it's around 130, 140 years old.
Wow.
It's just been kind of added on to. It was originally an old gas station.
It kind of looked like that, and I'll put a link to the tour that Brad that you gave below, because a lot of people have watched that and they've commented, and it's an interesting structure. That's cool. Okay, it was an old gas station. How did you guys find that? Let's jump back. What was the spark? Because you guys had a food truck first, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
Yeah. We started the food truck in 2018. I've been into barbecue for a long time, and really we kind of got into cooking and smoking and all that with a lot of church stuff, really. I mean, that was kind of the thing that started it for us.
Birthday parties. We have 4 almost completely all grown kids. Our youngest is almost 18. And so 4 different birthday parties a year with a huge group of kids and adults. You had to feed them a whole lot. So
yes. Let me just stop this really quick. If you're just listening to the podcast, I want people to jump over to the YouTube. You guys do not look like you've been married for 27 years, nor do you look like you have 4 children. You guys look so young. So anyways, great. I apologize for
next month.
Well, happy birthday.
46. Thank you.
Well, we would just make a big deal out of birthday parties. We'd invite, 50, 60 people, cook, a huge meal, and it just turned into a thing. People.
What were you guys cooking on then?
I used to use an old country Pecos, I think. It was just
something we bought at probably
offset.
Academy.
Yeah, I bought it at Academy.
Were you guys cooking mostly pork and pork ribs and?
We would, a lot of the times it would be pork butts, and then when I got into brisket, so it was like that was it, and I just cooked brisket all the time.
Everybody wanted brisket after that.
Yeah, once I really figured that out, that just became, the staple was brisket for everything.
And I was looking the other day before we were going to do this a week ago. I looked on the map, and you guys are closer to Houston than you are to New Orleans, right? Or is it New Orleans?
For sure. Yeah. We're actually only 30 minutes from the Texas line.
Yeah.
But right over the Texas line, there's nothing. Like the closest good barbecue joint is probably in Beaumont, and that would be at 1701.
1701. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But we actually get quite a bit of people from Southeast Texas come over here to eat with us because we're closer to them than 1701 or somewhere that they would consider good.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? And I think I didn't realize that until I talked to them at 1701. And then I've also talked to someone in Lake Charles as well. And so I didn't realize how, I guess if you're not from the area, you don't realize how close you guys are too. And then so were you guys going to Texas to try barbecue or going on any runs and stuff? Was that before the food truck?
Oh, definitely. Yes, that was our weekend thing.
Yeah, that's what we used to do on
we
weekends.
Went to so many barbecue places in Texas. We went to just about all the most popular places. Yeah. We've been the ones to stand in line for hours at Snow's and Franklin's and all those,
And we actually lived in Texas for about 10 years, and that was kind of the spark for all of this stuff too. I've always just loved Texas. We grew up, the little town that we grew up in is right on the line. Literally, we're probably a mile from Texas.
Grew up on the Seven River.
We're right on the river that divides Texas and Louisiana.
That's interesting. Okay, so you're essentially both. You're like from Louisiana as well as Texas, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we were actually both born in Texas.
Yeah.
And grew up on the other side of the river.
One of the biggest hospitals when we were kids was right over the line into the Jasper area, and so we were both born in Jasper. So we're originally Texans.
We're Texans,
we're Texans.
We're just
okay. Well, now we've got to the bottom of that. Okay, that makes sense. And then where in Texas did you live for 10 years?
There's a little town called Kirbyville.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Southeast Texas. It's about 45 minutes north of 1701.
Not very big. We were searching for just a small house for our kids at the time when they were younger, and he found a house online that he liked. It was at the right price. He's like, "Hey, let's move to Texas." And I was like, "Have you lost your mind?" And moved over there not knowing a soul. But it was an awesome experience. We met so many nice people. And then we spent our weekends traveling and eating barbecue. So worked out. And then, all of our families back over here, he took a job working over in Hackberry. That's below Sulphur in Louisiana, very south, right there by the Gulf. And so we thought, well, it'd be better for us to move back home and be closer. And so we actually moved back over here, closer to family and all too. So.
And that was prior to opening the food truck, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and the intention really was for me always to go back to Texas. I mean, I didn't plan on staying here forever.
We had a plan to move back to Texas.
But when we moved over here, we started doing the food trailer on the weekends. I still had a day job. We were doing the food trailer, and it took off. I mean, it was doing really well. We were like, do we really want to move back to Texas and start over?
We had such a
when
big,
this is doing well here.
Customer base. They would show up wherever we would set up. They would show up. We would sell out in an hour and a half. Even if we set out at Evan Evans in the middle of nowhere, we would still sell out so quick. And so it's like, do we really want to say, okay, all of our people, we're moving, good luck finding something else,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There was nothing else over here. There's no other Texas style barbecue over here. All they knew was just the plain Jane dry brisket, dry chicken with the potato salad and baked beans.
Yeah,
that
which
were pretty much out of a can, and so when they found us, they were like, oh yeah, good food. So.
And was it called Big Thicket at the time?
We were, because we were actually had the plan, even when we bought the trailer of moving back to Texas. So we were like, well, we're in that thicket area still, this is a huge forestry industry over here in the Leesville and DeRidder area and right across the border into Texas. So we were like, yeah, we'll open this now. We'll call it Big Thicket BBQ and we'll move back. And it'll be a popular thing over there.
What kind of wood are they harvesting? Is it?
Here it's mostly pine, just for the paper.
Yes, industry. For the paper industry. Yeah.
With just the area that we grew up in, I mean, a lot of people call it the piney woods, and on the other side of the river is the Big Thicket. That's just that area. Plus, it's a national preserve in Southeast Texas, the Big Thicket National Forest.
Okay, that's I knew it rang a bell as to why, and I was trying to, and I know a lot of people probably are wondering, why is it called Big Thicket Barbie? Okay, there you go.
We tell everybody that we're bringing a little bit of Texas into Louisiana.
That's nice, and especially too, like with your shirt, you have Texas / Louisiana. Now, what? So you said the response. So what was it like when you were searching out the truck and everything? What was that whole process like? Were you nervous? Was that something, or were you, because you kind of have always, you guys are busy people. You do other stuff too to stay afloat.
I mean, for me, I had a really good day job. So, I mean, it wasn't crucial for me to make a lot of money from it. I just loved it. I mean, it was purely a passion thing when we started. I mean, it was just, we would go places, we find places we love, and the next place we hit, we'd be like, we can do better than that, and it was kind of just back and forth. And we got to know a lot of people in the Texas barbecue scene. Got to be pretty good friends with David Slaughter, some folks like that.
Nice guy.
Oh yeah, love David.
And also someone that was very excited that I was talking to you guys is Blake. Blake.
Oh yeah, we love Blake. So we've been up there to see him. He's awesome.
That meant a lot to him, definitely.
So yeah, we just it just felt like the thing that we needed to do. I mean, I've worked for myself for most of my adult life, and then when I went back to doing construction safety and all that, it just, I was making really good money, but I just wasn't really happy, and I felt like I needed to do my own thing again. And the timing didn't feel right to go back into the guitar business. So, I mean, this was just like sort of the next logical progression for us. I mean, it's something we could do together and that we both love and we're passionate about. So we just bailed off into it.
But did you get was a truck, did you guys start that during COVID, or was it that was pre-COVID?
No, that was
2018. September 2018 is when we purchased it. And we had driven over to somewhere around Houston.
We bought it used
from a real nice guy. And we went, and we were just so on the fence, and we were like, and we didn't get there till like 6 o'clock in the evening. So we actually viewed the trailer in the dark and everything. And he was like, what do we do? What should we do? And I was just like, I don't know. And, we got to thinking about it and praying about it. And he said, if we don't do this, we're going to look back and say, what if, what if we didn't just make that purchase and just take that risk and that chance. And that's kind of how it's been with everything that we've done. Are we going to look back and think, what could have been if I would have done that? And so far, just taking those chances has worked. Honestly.
Sounds like that's how you guys lived your life. That's like you're saying.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
But you have to, but like that's what life is. There's that fear, there's that doubt, but if you don't do those things, you'll look back. I'm sure, there's lots of, like, everyone that's listening to this or watching this, there's things in their life that they wish they would have at least gone a little bit further into. But when you got that, like, did you get it? And then what did you drive it back to?
Well, we actually didn't have a trailer.
We didn't even have a truck that would pull it.
So the guy brought it to us. We paid him just to drive it over to us. And we actually borrowed a truck to pull it around for the first few months because we didn't even have anything to pull it with. And then we set it up the first day that we ever did a pop-up. We did it in Evans, the town we live in, which is a town of about 500 people.
Yeah, very tiny.
And when we opened the door, I mean, we had about 15, 20 people. standing there
waiting in line.
And I mean, it's been like that since day one.
Was that, did you guys tell your people at your church, or did you tell people online? Is that how did you?
Just friends and family, a lot of friends and family that just came out to support us. And then after that, they were like, they're actually pretty good. You guys should go try them. And
since then, it's just been word of mouth.
Yeah.
What was the menu back then?
We started out doing tacos. Brisket tacos has always been one of our main things. You know, just sliced brisket. At the beginning, we really didn't even do ribs at all because it's not really a thing here, or I didn't realize it was a thing
we
here.
didn't realize how big ribs
You
are.
know, every once in a while, somebody just pop up and say, "You guys don't have ribs," you know. We're like, whatever. So I just started adding a couple racks here and there, and that took off. And now we sell more ribs than almost anything else.
Yeah.
Wow. It's interesting.
It's just been crazy. I mean,
what was your schedule then? Was it popping up once a week?
Originally it was once a week. We backed it off for a little while to every other week just because I was working so much at my day job. And then when I started doing it full time, we did it 3 days a week. We would normally do Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Yeah. Were your kids involved at all?
Oh yeah, our kids have been involved since day one. Yeah. Our oldest, he's worked for us whenever he has a normal job. He's 25. He, you know, does his own thing, but whenever he's home, he comes and works with us. Our
He'll
daughter,
just come randomly in. He'll walk in and go put an apron on and his gloves and, you know, start fixing plates. He knows exactly what to do. Yeah. You know, he's 25. He's been married for 5 years. He has 3 young children, and he just needs to help. Our daughter, she's 20. She works for us full time, and she can run this place without us. Yeah, our youngest that is almost 18. He's still in school. He graduates this year, but usually Fridays, Saturdays, if he can, he'll come and work. You know, if he needs a little extra cash, or
that's nice.
We have a very small crew here. We have about 5 full-time employees, other than me and Brad, and then I work full time. And then we have a couple of part-time employees that come in when we need them. So,
and I noticed that you do highlight your employees too, which is nice.
Yes, we love our employees. We have a great team right now.
We really do. We've been incredibly blessed with some of the people that are on board here.
Yes.
You know, I got a couple of young folks that are just killing it. They really are. We got a young lady that makes our ribs every day. She follows my process, but I mean, she gets here in the morning, cooks the ribs, she kills it. I mean, she just does.
She's 18.
How great is that? Wow, how wonderful is that?
Yeah, it's awesome. And Tanner, he's our brisket guy. He comes here in the afternoons. He gets here at 1 o'clock and cooks the briskets through the night till they're done.
All the briskets and the pork.
It's awesome. They do such a good job.
They're reliable. It's so hard to find reliable anyone at any age right now, but being as young as they are, they're reliable, and that's what we're most grateful for.
And that's a testament to their upbringing and their parents, and that's because it's such a weird, and we could probably talk for 4 hours about the hiring issue, like all those issues. But when you guys found that place, how did you find this place? And it was like the beginning of COVID, right? Was 2020?
Yes. So in 2020, COVID hit pretty, and it was just getting to scare everybody right around beginning of March here.
Yeah.
And that's when Louisiana got hit really hard. And that's when we got hit with all the restrictions for the food businesses, food trailer and all. That's when he started getting calls saying, hey, we need safety managers, safety guys, we need you to come to work. Everybody else was getting laid off, one right after another, losing their jobs. And Brad was getting calls for all over for good jobs, making good money. And we had all these restrictions. So we were like, what do we do? What do we do? And he's like, well, why don't we sell the food trailer? And then when all this mess blows over in a few months, I can come back home and then we'll figure it out then.
Okay.
So that's what happened. We sold the food trailer. He went to work, ended up being a good bit longer than we expected.
I got a call initially. A friend of mine called and offered me a safety manager position. It was supposed to be like 2 weeks. And we just happened to have like a 2-week gap in our catering schedule. Yeah. There was nothing there. So I was like, you know what, I'll go do that. I mean, it's really good money for a couple of weeks. And while I was over there, I was working in Bryan, Texas. While I was in Bryan, the news just went crazy with all of it. I mean,
everything really was like the bomb just hit. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is.
And I'm seeing everybody else close their doors, cut back to half and everything. And it's like, I said, let's just pump the brakes on this and, I'll come back to it. And that 2-week job ended up being like several months,
Yeah.
you know, that as soon as I left there, they sent me to Mississippi, stayed in Mississippi several months. And then,
what are you doing safety for? What, you're a restaurant safety? Is it, or no?
oh, no. I do construction safety. I'm on those jobs. I'm typically a safety manager over a construction site. I do.
That entails you making sure that everything is crossed off, like the list.
Yeah, exactly. It's just making sure that everybody's following all the policies and procedures for OSHA standards and all that sort of thing.
Which not everyone does.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we did that. We just kind of pumped the brakes. Sad.
Yeah.
I traveled for most of that year.
Yeah.
I mean, and
While everybody was quarantining,
yeah, we
were traveling.
Yeah,
there was a select group of people that were traveling that were.
Yeah, he was considered very essential, and so I spent so much time in hotel rooms when I wasn't at home, and when I was trying to be with him while he was traveling. It was a lot of just staying in hotel, you know, just trying to be away from everybody when everyone was just staying indoors.
Yeah.
So.
And literally in 2020, I went to 22 different states that year.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord! Wow, that's amazing.
But yeah, we did that, and we had a few little odd catering jobs throughout that year that we didn't do in the food trailer. We just did cater. And then I got sent to West Point, New York. I was up there working, and she was back home, and this place came up.
And 6 months before that, or so, I believe it was in April, we had got the opportunity to buy this place when it was a coffee shop. This building, to rent the building and then buy the coffee shop. And I mean, they had thousands of dollars of coffee equipment in here. And I was like, that would be awesome, coffee and barbecue. But that was when COVID was like, you didn't know what was going to happen that April 2020. And it was like, we had the opportunity. It was at a good price and everything, but we had to say, you know, that location is so awesome. I wish we could get it without the coffee shop. And we just had to tell her no at the time.
Yeah.
And then that's right before October, we got a call. He said, the guy that owned the place, he said, hey, this is available if you want to rent it. The coffee lady's got all her stuff out. So you just be renting the building. I'm like, well, I'm going to come look at it. So I came and looked at the place and I was like, oh, what an opportunity, you know? And so we put a lot of prayer and thought into it. We really, really did, because he was still working, making great money. And we had saved our money that we would have put into the food trailer or a different business or anything, enough to probably put in half of what we initially needed to start the whole restaurant, which is great. Most people don't even have that.
No, not at all.
But we really did not have to borrow very much to go into this completely. We tried to do everything as much as possible ourselves. A lot of elbow grease, a lot of hard work went into this place before we even got the doors open. And that when I signed the lease on October 1st of 2020. Yeah. So everything was still pretty bad. It was all up and down still in Louisiana. You know, everybody's still wearing their mask and everything, but I knew it'd take me a few months to get this place going anyways.
You were still on the road, Brad, like still doing
something. He was on the road. He left it up to me. He was like, we were talking about it, praying about it. I'm like, this is an opportunity. I don't know if we should pass it up. We might regret it. And he was like, it's up to you. It's completely up to you. He's like, I don't know if we should or shouldn't. And so next thing he knew, I was sending him a picture of the key to the front door. So yeah.
What was there? I always wondered, like, was there a moment, was there like a late night moment in your head that said, it's got to do it, I just have to do it? Or
it was that, you know, we had been praying about it, and we are very much, you know, we are prayerful people. We believe in that truly and fully. And I would have had prayed about it. And I just felt this feeling, this gut feeling that if you don't do this, you're going to regret it. And
goes back to that feeling that.
Yes.
At that time, I mean, almost within a week or so of this place becoming available, I was offered a 5-year job in North Carolina.
Carolina.
Basically a permanent thing. I mean, it was
beautiful
really good
North
money.
Carolina.
We love North Carolina.
Yes.
I love that. I used to go there twice a year. I love North Carolina. Yeah.
I mean, and I was so tempted by that. And I prayed about it. I called everybody. And probably our daughter is who made the decision for me. I was talking to Jackson.
That's
and I was
daughter.
Like, you know, what do you think? Maybe you think about it, go to North Carolina, or should we do this restaurant thing? And she said, Dad, you're not ever going to be happy if you don't at least try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, you're right. So I turned the job down, came home.
And then you guys have to, because then I'll show again, like I'll put a link to the tour. Did you have to build out the pit room and all that, or was there something there?
We did. And they didn't know what to make us do around here.
Yeah.
The health officials and everybody was like, we're gonna have to do some research on this before we tell you what you have to do. And it took them months of trying to figure out.
Nobody has pits like us here.
No,
I mean, the closest one is Falls in Lake Charles, and that's an hour away from us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
In the parish that we live in, they had no experience with offsets.
None.
I mean, nothing. And the only other places around here use gas assist. It's basically ovens, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's completely different.
That's common across the United States. The health department, they don't know what to do, and it takes a long time. Sometimes they never get it solved.
Right. So that was a challenge, and there were a lot of hurdles with that whole thing, but we got it done.
And your pits too, they're unique. Could you explain your pits really quick? Because I remember talking about it.
Yes, they are unique. Yeah.
Both of them were made by friends and family. I mean, this has been shoestring since the beginning.
I love that.
We have it's been bootstraps from the get-go. I mean, one of the two pits was built by a young man that we used to go to church with. He's a pipeline welder, and he just happened to be laid off at the time that I was needing a pit. And I called him and said, hey, because I had a 250 gallon at that time, and it just wasn't big enough. That's what we started with, and it just wasn't. I mean, we couldn't cook enough. So I got him over and said, look at this thing. Make me one bigger than that, but like that. You know?
He took picture after picture of different smokers that he liked, that he could find online. This little, piece here, this little piece here. We want this here, and detailed photos, detailed descriptions. And he just gave it over to this kid. What is he? And he's in his later 20s, I would guess, older 20s. Yeah. And we just kind of handed him over all this and said, hey, do your best.
And it turned out amazing.
It turned out great.
I think folks like.
But they're not the standard size, right?
One of them is a 500 gallon. It's just pretty common. The other one, we actually took two 250 gallons and welded them end to end. So it's a 500 gallon long is what we call it. But it's just two 250 gallons welded. We chopped the caps off of them, welded it together.
It's neat. I love that too, that you're just like not ragtag, but you guys do anything you put your mind to. And that's something too that someone's listening to this or watching this knows that you could make do. It'd be nice to get a pit from somebody, one of the big guys, but some of those are a year and a half out.
We would love that. We would love to have them over, that would be amazing, but there was no way we could afford it. We had to put every dime into this place, and the weight on it, it was like, okay, what can we do that's going to take some guy who doesn't have anything to do a few months to make and just get it done for us. And that worked.
What was the reception like in the area? Were you open Wednesday through Saturday at that time, or was it just a couple days at first?
People were very confused about that. They don't do that anywhere else in Louisiana, anywhere around here.
Still an issue,
it is
for a lot of people around here.
People show up on Monday and Tuesdays and they get so disappointed and mad at us. You're never open.
You're never open. It's just the day you guys show up.
And you're not open, and your hours say you're open, and I'm like, read the fine print at the bottom. It says until we sell out. We sell out all the time.
That also too, that's a hurdle you need to get it. A lot of people don't understand that across the United States, and especially even what's funny, even in Texas, there are people that still don't understand that.
Oh yeah,
really?
For sure.
Yeah.
There's been quite a bit of customer education here for sure. Because it's like I said, there's really not anybody else like us here. Just the whole business model. I mean, we pretty much modeled it after Central Texas places. And we strive to cook fresh food every day.
We do not sell anybody leftovers. We try to do everything as much from scratch as possible, and people appreciate that when they understand that part of our recipes for our sides and thing, and even our meats. There's secret recipes. We're not going to give you the information for them. And then they find out, okay, this is not out of a box. They're like, oh, okay. And then when they try it, they're like, I see, I understand. So.
I mean, we have the people that complain about us selling out early and all that, but there's still a line here basically almost every day.
We have so many return customers.
That means everything.
It does. Our customers are the best around here. They mean the world to us, and we treat them like they're the world to us. Really, we make sure that is key is to loving the people in this community. It really has brought people together. You know, people come and sit in here, they'll eat their food and they'll visit for an hour, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
Do you guys have, because when you guys do the tour, you just have indoor seating, correct?
Yes.
Yes, a lot of people come and get takeout though. They'll come and stand in line, get their bag, and head out.
Yeah, probably 75% of our sales is just daily lunch sales. They're to go. You know?
Do you get people from those industries, like the paper industry and logging? Is that you guys?
Oh, for sure.
For sure, yeah.
The little subcontractor companies out from PCA, which is the big company out here in DeRidder, they'll call and order 10 or 20 plates, you know, before we open. So we're rushing to get that ready before we open the doors a lot of times in the mornings, but they're great people.
So we get a lot of orders from the local plants.
Local plants, hospitals.
They're very supportive of us.
Yeah, businesses, they're all very supportive.
And that could be a big part. I've worked at 2 barbecue places, and that's a big part of your business is getting those big orders. Well, now with your menu, let's go over your menu. But then I also off camera, Jessica, we had talked about you going to Amy Mills on Q barbecue class. So I want to talk about that as well. But what's your menu? Because I know you guys still do the tacos and stuff.
Yeah, so we actually have a pretty extensive menu for a small place out here that's not Texas. So our meats every day, just about, we'll have 3 or 4 specials every day. Okay, so we have the brisket, we have the pulled pork, we have our ribs, we have boudin. We do smoked boudin here. It's not made in-house, but we will be making that in-house in the next year.
Oh wow,
smoked sausage, and then we usually bring in a specialty sausage like jalapeno cheese or pepper jack sausage, something like that. We do chicken leg quarters. People kept asking for chicken. You know, when we for months and months, they were like, "When are you guys gonna have chicken?" Because chicken's a big thing in Louisiana.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of places that are like, but no, they
got so many meats, and you're asking for chicken. You know, so finally, when prices kept going up and up, we were like, you know what? That's a very cheap option. People are asking for it. We're gonna make
finally.
Yeah. So all those other meats, we also have chicken leg quarters. So brisket, pulled pork, sausage, boudin, ribs, chicken, and then our extra whatever we throw in as a special that day, which is like the jalapeno or the jalapeno boudin or jalapeno cheese sausage. And then we usually have at least 5 sides every day. And then that does not include our sandwiches that we have. We have 4 different kinds of sandwiches. Yes, 4 different kinds, and then we'll often do a specialty sandwich. We do something every once in a while called our frisky pig, and it's an extra large pulled pork sandwich, and it has what all on it? The
queso, chili cheese Fritos, barbecue sauce, and chipotle
sauce that we make in-house, all that.
Just a big, huge mess.
Sounds so good right now.
It really is. It's really popular with a few. People haven't got the just.
It's just such a big unruly mess that some people are scared to.
Some people are scared to even try it. But and then so we have our sides that we are having every day now, and we'll change up our green side every once in a while. So we have our jalapeno cream corn. It's very popular with people because it's a whole kernel corn in a cheese sauce. And we start off with fresh jalapenos, and we take out the seeds and veins, so it's not spicy, but you still get that
little bit
good taste of jalapeno in there. And we have so many people come in and saying, "Can you give me a recipe?" And I'm like, "Oh, sweetie, no, I'm so sorry." And they'll try it. They'll go home and try to figure it out themselves. And like, "I just can't get it." And I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry."
You can buy it by the quart.
Yeah. We have our Smokey Pit Beans, and that's our take on baked beans, and they're very popular. And Brad came up with that recipe himself. And we have the Texas Chalk Casserole. Now, that is something we kind of stole from. Originally, Opie's had it, and then we tried it the first time at Truth. In Truth, and we were like, "This just needs something. This just needs something." So instead of whatever green item they put in, I think they put green chilies in it. We put actually green onions in ours because green onions are just the green onions is a Louisiana staple. So that's very popular. Also, you know, we don't give out that recipe to everybody, and people keep on coming back for more. We have the corn, the beans, hot casserole. That's our main thing. We have those every day, no matter what.
Okay.
Yes, and then we have a homemade bacon mac and cheese that is so good. It is so good. And then the last few weeks we've been having the Creole green beans, and that is an item that we've taken that's a healthy item and made it unhealthy. We have a ton of bacon in it, butter, seasonings, and it's a sauteed, so it's not in like sitting in liquid all day or anything.
And it's not from a can.
It's not from a can.
Oh.
It's scratch made, and people are just, they love it. And they think, oh, the green beans, I'll try them, but then they try them, they're like, oh, we want the green beans, we gotta have the green beans.
All those sides alone sound like that would be reason enough to come see you guys. Would be
We try to make the sides just as good or better than the meats. I mean,
and we have we have the tacos too. We have a pretty extensive menu.
For sure.
And then, but for people that aren't familiar with Boudin, can you explain what Boudin is?
If you're familiar with dirty rice, it's kind of like dirty rice in a casing. It's basically meat and spices and rice all combined, and then put in a casing like sausage. So
and then when you take it and smoke it, it makes it 10 times better.
Takes it to another level.
It really does.
It takes smoke beautifully. It's one of my favorite things to smoke, and it's a Louisiana staple.
It's a staple. It's something that you almost have to have it, but you guys have to have it because it's part of you. But
absolutely. It's kind of crept into the Texas scene quite a bit at this point.
It has.
But for us, we have to do it. I mean, it's just something that's expected here.
But someone on the West, like I'm in Los Angeles now, but I've traveled around, but people that have never had it before would be completely unfamiliar. And also the consistency, it's different than sausage.
Yeah, for sure. And people come in, it's really funny that we get a kick out of this constantly because so many people that aren't from here come in and butcher the name.
Yeah.
I mean, we hear so many different
things. Can I get the Boudin? And I'm like, you can get that. Yeah.
Well, as long as you know the mispronunciation.
Yeah.
We're close to a military base. We're only about 20 minutes from Fort Polk. So we have a lot of military that come in. That's just a constant sort of humor for us is the mispronunciations of Boudin.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. No, I think that I butchered it like a long time ago when I first because it's different.
It is.
I mean, it doesn't look like it sounds. Sure.
Mm-hmm. So you're eventually going to be scratch making that? Is that something that you want to do?
That's the plan. I mean, we were actually supposed to do a collaboration the next couple of months with Bill Dumas, but we're just really kind of busy at the moment. We sort of put that on the back burner towards the end of the year. But that's the plan as soon as we can. I'm looking at the menu if you're wondering why I'm staring off into space.
Right here,
you're not the only one that's done that well.
But that's the plan is to start making our own Boudin sausage in-house as soon as we can. Really, right now it's mostly just a schedule issue. I've played around with it. I have some really cool ideas, I think. It's just a matter of time. It's, for us to never be open, as people say. We're incredibly busy.
Do you have the storage space too? Do you have cold storage that you can?
That's another issue.
That's an issue too.
The huge issue.
Yeah, we will basically just have to make smaller batches for the time being. Because we don't have a ton of space, but we'll make do. I mean, that's what we do. So,
but that also says that you guys always want to progress and get better. So that kind of leads into Jessica. Why did you go up to see Amy and them? Have you always wanted to?
We just recently found out about it in the last few months, and Brad was like, you should go take that class because I take care of everything behind the scenes. I do all the ordering, I pay all the bills, I do a little bit of everything. It's not only sitting back and telling people what to do. I don't want to have to hire an extra person if I can do it myself. I'm just one of those type of people. If I can save money at it, that's what we're going to do. Unless it hinders the quality of something, then that is a no-go of that. We do not take away from the quality of things, but if we can save money on it, we're going to do that. He looked at the class first and then told me about it. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great. And he mentioned how much it was because it's just a 2-day class. There's a full 2 days and then an extra eating, a meat for eating. And I was like, what? But after I took it, I'm telling you, it was so worth it.
It's called On Cue, the Business of Barbecue, correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. And it was a great class. I got to meet some great people. When you first get in there, Amy stands up there and she says, you're going to take in so much information that it's like drinking from a fire hose. And I was like, yeah, right. There can't be that much. But by the time you filled a whole notebook with notes and they given you an extra notebook, you know, that they've printed out all on their own, and then you're taking notes for 5 minutes and you're like, okay, now we're going to go put the ribs on the smoker and we're going to learn about that. And then when you're back and you're taking notes and you're eating, they feed you constantly while you're there. I think I gained 3 pounds in those 2 days I was there. And then it's constantly, you're doing something all day long. It starts at 8 in the morning. It's over at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, and you're busy through the whole day for those 2 full days. And yeah,
it's Amy Mills from 17th Street Barbecue in Murfreesboro, Illinois. Now, was this their first class since Mike had passed, or
19 was their last class that they did? Yes.
And in the meantime, Mike Mills had passed away, and it's been were there people from all across the United States, right, or maybe even around the world?
Correct. So I think we had about 23 or 24 taking the class. It was a very diverse group. We had a guy actually come from South America. I cannot remember what area he came from. I didn't get to talk to him very much because he was way on the other side of the room. But people from all over the world come to take that class. And it's amazing that she offers it and offers so much information for people. It really was. I do highly recommend it. It is worth it. And even though we're, you know, a few years into this business and right at a year into having our brick and mortar open, everybody was saying, why are you here? You know, why are you taking this class? I was like, there is always room for improvement.
Yeah.
Always. And so I took that as, you know, this is an opportunity. And again, had to weigh that option of, should I do this or will I regret it if I don't do it? And it was like, well, let's just do it.
Well, no, it's also networking too. You meet people.
Yeah,
met some great people. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't only barbecue people. There was a couple of ladies there that have a catering business right outside of Nashville. And they were just there to take in that information of how they should run their business. And they had just opened beginning of January this year. And they had 21 catering jobs coming up.
Oh, wow.
And they wanted to take in that information. They're awesome. And they just want to take in that information and see what they could do to you know, make everything correct. Not food wise. They had that down, but the business side, they want to make sure they were doing everything correctly.
And there's a lot of courses there's a lot of people teaching classes across the United States that are about the actual process, but not the business side.
Right,
and I think that when people
that perfectly,
because going into a business, there's a lot of pitfalls and there's a lot of things that you're learning on the job and mistakes. Is there, and I had mentioned this off camera that I'm working on this project. Is there a mistake or something or a tip that you can give something that you wish you had learned prior to opening or you had known prior to opening?
I would say to probably start your prices a little higher than you think they need to be.
yeah.
Okay.
Because it's, you know, people don't like to see price increases. I mean, if it is what it is from day one, you know, they're probably going to be
That's
okay
good advice.
if you have to creep it up, you know, and it's really hard to figure out those food costs at the beginning, just to really know how to make money from it. And, you know, it seems like, yeah, you make a lot of money on brisket, but, you know, by the time you've trimmed and lost 50-60% of it through the cook process, you know, it gets pretty tough to actually make a profit on something like brisket, even though it's $20-something a pound. So I would just say, you know, put the time into figuring out those food costs, because that's something that we definitely neglected at the beginning. We just pretty much was like, what's the guy down the street charging for a sandwich? And we charge the same thing.
Yeah.
And then we have a completely different process. So,
Yeah.
you know, if he's sticking something in an oven throughout the night, we have to pay somebody to throw sticks of wood in there all night. And that's a whole nother level of cost that we have that they may not have.
Yeah.
You know, so I would just,
So it might be smart too to reach out to other people in your industry and kind of, you know, pick their brain a little bit. Not everyone would tell you, but most people would at least give you some sort of guidance.
yeah.
You can never get too much research. You can never do too much research. You know, go and search the barbecue business videos on YouTube. Do that. Reach out to people. Don't be afraid to message them on Facebook or, you know, Instagram and say, hey, what do you think about this? People that have owned businesses that you know are doing well. Those people, you know, normally, you know, 99% of the time will get that with you, even though they may seem like way up high, special people, you know, they will normally, they're down to earth just as much as you are, and they'll try their best to get back to you.
Yeah. We had some great guidance and, you know, direction from some guys early on. Willow from Lowe's Texas Barbecue, Jim Buchanan, the guys like that, you know, were just a wealth of information to me when I was nobody in this. Not that I am now, but I mean, you know, I was just some guy asking questions and they answered.
Some random stranger.
You know, and I've always thought that was really cool.
How did you guys meet David Slaughter? How did
we just showed up there? I mean, I run a Facebook group called Pitmaster Confidential. That's basically just a bunch of pitmasters that talk about business stuff, or you know,
a few random guys who want to be pitmasters.
Yeah, it's a mixture of guys learning and guys that are established.
Yeah.
But anyway, when I first started it, Dave was on there, Josh Thomas from Ernie's, and it was one of our weekend trips. You know, we had hit a lot of Houston places, done the Austin thing and all that. We were just kind of looking for new places to go. And about halfway through the Texas monthly top 50 lists last time, I just kind of threw the list out the window and started going by word of mouth.
We had our little book and we got it halfway stamped, and we're like, you know, why don't we give these other guys a try?
Yeah, I love that. That's what's important, I think.
And give the smaller guys a try. And we happened to plan that weekend in Dallas, and Slaughter's Barbecue Oasis was one of our top spots we wanted to hit. And so we just showed up there, got our tray of food, sit down. And after a few minutes, he came out and visited with us, and everything was amazing. Every bite that we took was just out of this world. And he came out and hung out with us for just a minute when he could. You know, they were busy, but awesome guy. And then
we stayed in touch. We met through that group, him and Josh from Ernie's. We met through that group initially, and then just stayed in contact with them. We've actually done some barbecue runs and stuff. Me and David and Josh have went to Brotherton's and eaten, you know, and stuff like that.
That's nice.
So that's been really cool. And,
and then so that kind of leads to what barbecue means to you. Like, what does this world mean to you guys? Is that it's not just the food, it's not just the restaurant, it's everything, right? It's
a lot of times people are surprised when I tell them that barbecue is not actually even my favorite food. I tend to like Mexican and Cajun food better than I like barbecue. But I love the vibe. I love the scene. I love the people. Like I said at the beginning, I'm a huge just Texas lover. I mean, I love everything about Texas, and it's such a part of the culture. You know, all this for me started, it's oddly enough, through the guitar business. I used to do the Dallas Guitar Show every year, and I had a really popular guitar forum that I ran back then. And before the Dallas Guitar Show, every year I would meet up with a bunch of guys from that forum and eat barbecue at Sonny Bryant's. One of the guys on that group just recommended, hey, let's go there. And that became a yearly thing. And the same guy that took me there every year recommended that I go to Lockhart. He's like, if you like this, you really need to go over there. He's like, that's the barbecue capital of the world. So,
that's where the adventure began.
So my oldest son, I took him to Austin on like a little senior trip, and we went to Smitty's. And walking into Smitty's, it just felt like walking back in time.
Yeah.
You know, that fire on the floor there.
Nothing like it.
How does that even work? You know?
Yeah. Well,
and it was so hot and smoky in there, and I'm like, this is super uncomfortable, but people are just eating it up, and you know, it just feels like magic, you know. And it was such a beautiful thing to me, and I just really fell in love with it there. And you know, when we were in Kirbyville, we were pretty far, but not too far from Stanley's. So anytime I would go to Dallas for guitar stuff or anything, I'd drive through Tyler, hit up Stanley's, and I just fell in love with it. I mean, it's I love the community of it. I've met some really cool people, some people that I consider dear friends at this point. And that's just, it's awesome to me. I mean, I love that, the community aspect of it just as much, if not more than the food.
Yes, I want to throw this in. With all my heart, I believe that barbecue is not just food. Barbecue is an experience.
Yeah.
And one of the things I took away from Amy's class was she had these little posters sitting on the table, and they would have little quotes from her dad. And it said, nobody's sitting around outside hanging out eating spaghetti.
In large groups, yes, I know it's true.
Family or something like that.
Yeah, I remember though. There's a famous quote from at least famous to me. Yeah, there's that he said about that. Yeah, like you don't get a bunch of Italian restaurants getting together for festivals and things like this.
No, you don't. It's just a completely different experience.
Yeah, and I was thinking like that for like sushi and for them. There's not. It's a very unique community. It's a very tight knit. There's a kinship. There's something about being around fire. it's almost like religious. There's something very special and something powerful about barbecue.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had the opportunity in the last year to do a Smoke and Barrel Festival in Lake Charles, and it's a little barbecue and bourbon festival they
cool.
do on their square in Lake Charles. And they also had Blood Brothers from Houston, from Bel Air, come over, and so we got to meet those guys and hang out with them. And
that's cool.
Their whole crew that they brought along with them is just awesome. They're doing some amazing things over there. And there's another couple in Lake Charles. They have a food trailer, and they're doing awesome. It's called Smokehouse 36.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Jake
Paul.
Elliott, Jake and Paul are doing awesome. They're kicking butt over there, and their food is awesome. They are very much Texas themed like us.
Yeah.
And they're killing it. Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's good to know. I'll put a link below to them too, so they can get some love. That's what's important is I know that there's these lists, and I know there's the places that everyone knows, but there's a lot of people on the periphery that are working really hard and trying really hard and doing a really good job, but they don't get noticed, maybe because they're off the beaten path. And I'm hoping to highlight, and people might not have heard of you guys before, or they might have just heard the name, but they don't know quite what you guys are about or what you're doing. And that's,
we have so many people thinking we have a second location in Texas. They'll call and say, "Is this the DeRidder location or the one over in Texas?" I'm like, "This is DeRidder." I don't go through the whole explanation of we're the only one, but they'll figure it out.
So then, do you think you have tacos on the menu, Brad, because you love Mexican food so much?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of we do a lot of specials that are Mexican inspired. We do smoked brisket enchiladas, smoked chicken enchiladas, that kind of thing.
A couple weeks ago, we had a cold, very, very cold Thursday or Friday. And so we were trying to come up with something to have other than gumbo that would be, great comfort food to somebody to come up and warm up with a bowl of something, And so I was like, "Hun, why don't we do caldo de pollo with smoked chicken in it?" Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
That sounds so good.
Never made it with smoked chicken, so it was
really
so good. It went well that day. It sold, and it was great. So we've got to throw in Cajun and Mexican influence into that, Tex-Mex and all that.
Yeah,
and
so it's
Mexican. That's my thing.
Mexican.
That's
Yeah.
that's what I like to do. That's kind of the direction I want to go with our Boudin stuff. That's sort of
For sure.
what I have in mind is
so stay tuned for that, because that'll be and the best ways to get a hold of you, and can people call in orders ahead? I forgot to look. Can you order online?
We don't have
Not yet.
online ordering. We do have call-in orders. For the first several months, we just did the line. I mean, we didn't take any phone calls or anything like that. But so many people asked, and we felt like we were missing out on business from the local businesses. That we started taking call-ins, and it's worked out. It kind of diverts attention away from other things sometimes, but it also is a big source of income is call-in. So we do that. But that's pretty much it right now. You just either have to call or come in.
Call and come in, and then what are all the different social media?
We have Facebook, Instagram. We have a TikTok that I don't actually promote.
We haven't started using it yet. We're going to try to a little bit more.
But we do have a TikTok page that has just a handful of videos on there. But primarily we're active on Facebook. I mean, that's the main thing. We try to post our specials every day on Facebook, and for the local community, they have been really receptive to that. I mean, we get a lot of orders off of our Facebook posts.
So they just type in Big Thicket BBQ though.
Yeah, Big Thicket BBQ.
We're very easy to find.
The same thing on every platform.
Big Thicket BBQ.
And then with merch, can people buy merchandise in store? Do you guys have merch yet? Or?
We have T-shirts and stuff here.
Okay.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, people will want that. I'm sure people would. It's important to support, just like you said off camera, that you wear a bunch of different barbecue shirts from other places. It's
for sure. Yeah.
And I wear them. Even there's so many places that I've worn that I've never even visited. I just love the people so much, and that it's. I just tell people it's on my wish list. It's not because you can't be. But it's so. And then from Houston, it's how many? It's about 2 hours or 2.5 hours from Houston.
About 2.5 hours from Houston.
Yeah.
And they can make the run. But is it the 10? Does it come out the 10? Or what's the best way to get to you guys?
Probably to hit 10 to Beaumont and then come up through Mauriceville and Deweyville. Yeah, we're north.
We're north of the 10, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
north, yeah.
So you have to get off the beaten path a little bit, but I mean, it's not
No,
terrible.
that's what life's about.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. And so, but it's also funny because the 10 starts here in California. It's so if you're in California, just get on the 10 and it's head east. It's funny too, because I was looking, because for some reason I had on Google the walk, you know how you could change it from like driving to walking to like to see how far something is. I had Houston to you guys, I think it was 54 hours walking from Houston or something crazy. And I'm like, 54 hours, that doesn't make any sense at all. But it's so nice to meet you guys. Is there anything that we missed that we didn't cover? Is there anything that you want people to know about you guys that we missed?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, I just want to say that I do think it's an incredibly cool thing that you do. So thank you.
Thank you. I've listened to so many of your podcasts and all. And
that's nice.
It's a really joy to hear about other barbecue places, you know, and that being shared through our barbecue community really is great.
Yeah. Well, I just love people, and while I'm helping my mom, I want to share your guys' stories and also help you guys as much as possible. And then also, like I mentioned before, it's kind of selfish. Now I've met you guys in person, so now when I see you guys, at least I feel like I know you a little bit better, and I hope that people get that same. And it's wonderful what you guys are doing, and it's interesting, and you have a unique story just like everyone else. And I think that's so it's Wednesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. till sold out.
Yep.
Yeah, 11 till sold out or 5 o'clock, whichever comes first, and it's usually before 5. But
so if you show up around 1-ish, like, are you still pretty good at?
We're still good at 1.
Yeah, most of the time.
We might have a crazy day. We've started having the pork belly burn-ins a whole lot, and we'll make a house-made sauce to go with them. One of the most popular things is our Asian sticky sauce, and that's been extremely popular. And they sold out in about 30 minutes Saturday when we had them. And it was like people were coming in all day long saying, I want the burn-ins, I want the burn-ins. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, we've been sold out. So
So can they call ahead to, like, I know you don't want a ton of calls, but call and say, hey, do you got, like, at 2 o'clock, say, do you still have blah blah blah?
Okay. And that was where we saw had most of it has sold out that morning. People knew, they're like, if I don't call in my order now and have them set it aside, I'm not going to get there before 2, it'll be gone. And so many people that came in and picked theirs up, I was like, it's a good thing you called early. Yeah.
Definitely. And they can also call sides ahead. And then also if they're having, and you do catering too, right?
We do catering.
Yes.
As well.
And that would be best to call or to email or to message or anything?
Call, messages, anything that we can communicate.
Telegram.
Yes.
Just a carrier pigeon, whatever way. Like, I'm sure. But else there was something. Oh, happy birthday in advance for you.
Thank you.
Brad, when's your birthday? Is it? Do we miss it?
July.
Okay. Well, happy birthday in advance too. Mine's in June, so it's all coming up. But I hope you guys have a great week.
Appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you as well. All right. Have a great